What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Talking Sports Podcast right here on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. I am your host, Peter DiBiasi. As always, we are sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you guys use code TSP at underdogfantasy.com. Download the app on the App Store or just go on their website. They have great stuff, NFL stuff, college football stuff, NBA, college basketball, weekly drafts, weekly pick'ems. Make sure you guys get on to Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you guys use code TSP and social media, Talking Sports PD on Instagram and on X. Make sure you guys follow us for weekly picks, weekly college football rankings, announcements, Underdog Fantasy picks. Make sure you guys follow us for all things social media, sponsorships, all that kind of stuff. Announcements for shows if you don't know when we're recording, when we're watching, all that kind of stuff. Make sure you guys follow us on social media. It's been a while. It's been a couple weeks. We did a lot of World Series talk. We did a lot of MLB playoffs talk. We're going to gear back up with some football talk. We're going to get into the title of the episode. So if you're on Apple Podcasts, if you're on Spotify, or if you're on YouTube, if you're watching me right now, you know exactly what we are going to talk about, and that is we're going to talk about contenders and pretenders in the National Football League. We're going to talk about three teams that I think can go win the Super Bowl in this season, and three teams that have a good record, that have had a good regular season, that I don't think can get, or that I don't think can lift that Lombardi at the end of the year. We're going to get to some college football talk later in the season. We're going to do a conference championship preview. We're going to do college football playoff previews. We're going to do so much stuff with college football. It's going to be awesome. And the NFL content is going to keep on coming. 3 contenders, 3 pretenders. Let's get started here, guys. Make sure you guys drop a like. Make sure you guys drop a comment. I really appreciate it. Road to 5K continues. You guys are blowing up social media. You're blowing up the YouTube page. You're blowing up Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And I really, really appreciate it. Let's grab the handy dandy note paper. I haven't brought out a note paper in a while. We got the pencil, we got the note paper, we got some stats that I'm going to read you guys. On the list, the first contender, the Buffalo Bills. Man, I do not like this presentation, but I did not change how I wanted the banner to look. You know why? Because I didn't, and now I don't know how to do it because I completely forgot to change what the banner looks like, but that is what we're doing. We're going to be doing that banner, and now I don't know how to change it anymore. So we're going to stick with it. This is what happens when you record a show live. You don't realize how to change the banner on your brand, but okay. Contender, Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, and I'm recording this Thursday night, so I'm going to talk about a team that is playing on Thursday Night Football. So when you guys are watching or when you are listening to this, they will have either won or they have either lost, and that is not going to change my opinion. So I'm going to say their record in a little bit, and you might be like, well, they won. They're this record, or they lost, and then this record. Recording Thursday night at 7:50, right before Thursday Night Football, because I like to go to bed after the game. So the Bills, first contender on this list. They are sitting at 8-2. They are 3rd in points per game, and they are 9th in points allowed. So they're top 5 offense, top 10 defense. That is a recipe for success in this postseason. They're 8-2. They don't have anybody in contention in that division competing with them. The Dolphins, the Jets, and the Patriots. Dolphins obviously and the Jets technically still have a chance to make the wild card spot, but neither of them have, or none of those 3 teams have a chance to win this division at this point and this point of the season. The Bills are 8-2. When you're led by Josh Allen and you're led by this defense and the running game and James Cook, they bring in Amari Cooper. Keon Coleman gets healthy. Khalil Shakir is emerging as a really reliable slot receiver, one of the best yards after catch receivers in the NFL, one of the more reliable receivers in the NFL. When all that comes together and you have Josh Allen as your quarterback, you are considered a contender. And you might be like, Peter, why are the Bills on this? Isn't these teams that we should be wishy-washy with? The reason that the Bills are on this list, because all offseason we were told by the national media and by other people that the Bills were rebuilding. This was a rebuilding year. They let go of Trey White. They let go of Jordan Poyer, Mitch Morse, Gabe Davis. They traded away Stephon Diggs. Bills are rebuilding. No, the Bills are not rebuilding. At this time last year, through 10 games, the Bills were 5-5. They obviously ended up winning the division at 11-6 and making the playoffs and losing in the divisional round. The Bills threw 10 games this year, 8-2. The Bills threw 10 games last year, 5-5. The Buffalo Bills are legit Super Bowl contenders, and they can 100% compete with the Kansas City Chiefs. Pretender, look away. Look away, Minnesota Vikings fans. The Vikings are 7-2. And you might be like, that's really good. It is. Two main reasons why I think they're a pretender. That division's a gauntlet, right? Outside the Chicago Bears, who are still somewhat of a tough team, the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions are both really good football teams. Jordan Love has to be healthy for the Packers to be a really good football team. And the Lions are an absolute wagon and find a way to win a ton of football games. Sam Darnold is starting to turn into the Sam Darnold that I'm a little bit afraid of. Because we saw how bad he was with the Jets, right? And we're like, okay, well, maybe he can revise his career in Minnesota. They bring him into Minnesota and they draft J.J. McCarthy, bridge quarterback to J.J. McCarthy. And then Sam Darnold takes the league by storm. Then Sam Darnold comes out of nowhere. But then the last couple weeks come alive. And you're like, okay. Didn't look great against Jacksonville. They ended up beating a really bad Jacksonville team, more or less because their defense is really good, and Mac Jones was playing quarterback for the Jaguars. I don't think if your quarterback is Sam Darnold, you can be a contender. I think you could be a really good team. I think you could be a really good regular season team, and I think you could win a playoff game. I don't think you could be considered a contender if you have Sam Darnold as your quarterback. I talked about a team that's going to play on Thursday Night Football, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles, and they are a contender, a team that made the Super Bowl 2 years ago, a team that was super hot last year, and then completely fizzled out in the postseason and ended up losing in pretty blowout fashion to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jalen Hurts all of a sudden has, 2 years ago, took the league by storm, was great, took the Eagles to a Super Bowl appearance. Last 2 months struggled. He really struggled. Jalen Hurts is one of 5 quarterbacks with at least 20 touchdowns, 20 or more total touchdowns on the year. The other 4 quarterbacks are Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, and Josh Allen. He is one of 5 quarterbacks with at least 20 touchdowns heading into Thursday Night Football. He has been tremendous. They are 7th in points per game. They are 5th in points allowed. They're a top 10 offense. They're a top 10 defense. That is a recipe for success when it comes to December and when it comes to January. That means you're a really good and you're a really well-rounded team. A.J. Brown's healthy, Devontae Smith healthy, and Saquon Barkley is an absolute game changer at the running back position. Top 10 offense, top 10 defense, and Jalen Hurts is playing at an all-time level right now for his career, and that makes them a contender. Pretender. I'm sorry, Chargers. I really like you. I really like the Chargers, but I think they are a pretender. They're currently 6-3. They are most likely not going to win that division, even though in most other divisions, maybe outside of the North and the AFC East because of the Buffalo Bills, they would be 100% in, even in the Bills, because they would be 100% in contention for that division title. But the Chiefs are undefeated. The Chiefs would have to lose a lot of games. But the Chargers are 6-3. Can they make the playoffs? 100%. Will they make the playoffs? Yes, I think they will make the playoffs. Sorry. A couple reasons why I think they're pretenders and not contenders. And I don't think this is a bad thing, but I think this is a conversation we have to have. The weapons scare me, right? Like, I think Quentin Johnson, who we completely wrote off, the whole league completely wrote off last year as a rookie, has emerged and is starting to figure out how he fits in this NFL and is starting to become a legit NFL player. But it's Quentin Johnson and it's Ladd McConkey. And we thought this was a rebuilding year for the Chargers, kind of going away from Brandon Staley, moving off Mike Williams, moving off Austin Eckler, moving off Keenan Allen, and trying to retool this team with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards and Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnson. It's fun, it's cool, it's exciting, and I root for the Chargers, and they are a great story, but they are not a contender. They're a great story, not a contender. They're also 19th in points per game. Their defense is legit. They're a top 5 defense in the National Football League. They are going to be in every single game. But if you want to be a contender, and especially in the AFC, Your defense is going to be great. You have to score more points, and you cannot be 19th in points per game. You're going to go up against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. You're going up against the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, and you're going up against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. You have to be able to win a shootout because those three quarterbacks will be able to beat any good defense. I don't know if the Chargers can. Their defense will be in every game. They'll be in a playoff spot. They can 100% play spoiler come January. They can 100% be a wild card team that goes on the road to Baltimore, that goes on the road to Buffalo and pulls an upset. They can definitely do that. Or they can go on the road to Pittsburgh and pull an upset. They can 100% do that. I don't know if they are considered contenders. You can look back, fans. You can look back now. Steelers, final contender on my list. The Steelers, like the Chargers, are one of the cooler stories in the National Football League. They're currently 7-2 heading into this weekend. A couple of reasons why I think they're legit contenders. They can win the AFC North. And if you win that AFC North with the Bengals, with the Ravens, and now with the Steelers, you are contenders because that means you're a really good team. That means you're a legit team. And that means you're a tested team. And all those things are important when it comes to playoff football. Their defense is legit. They are second in points allowed with 16.2 points per game. They're 12th in offense. They're right around the middle of the offense, so they're much better than the Chargers. Like you might be like, well, aren't they similar to the Chargers? 100%. They just have that better uptick in offense. George Pickens is starting to emerge. Russell Wilson's playing his best ball we've seen. I never thought we would ever see this type of Russell Wilson again. I was on the think, start Justin Fields. See what you have for your future. Russell Wilson has completely changed my stance on that and has changed the perspective of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Will they win the division? I don't know. And maybe to be contenders, you have to win the division. They're going to be in a dogfight with Baltimore. They have a great matchup with this weekend with the Ravens. It's going to be electric. It's going to be a bloodbath. And I'm sad that game is at 1 o'clock. But they're 7-2. And another reason they're contenders, Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is one of the best coaches in the National Football League. And I don't want to hear a single Pittsburgh Steelers fan complain about Mike Tomlin. About maybe 26 to 27 coaches, 26 to 27 teams would take Mike Tomlin as their coach. Maybe even more, 28, 29. I don't even know what the number is. I think the Steelers, with their defense, with Russell Wilson playing at an absurd pace right now, they are legit contenders. Before we get to the final pretender of the show, make sure you guys make sure you guys comment, and make sure you guys subscribe and follow us on all social media platforms. I'm going to take a sip from my cup of water, clear that throat for this final pretender. And I have to edit it because you know what? When you do your own show like this, you forget stuff. And the final pretender is the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans did beat a team on this list that I announced as a contender, and that is the Buffalo Bills on a game-winning field goal. But since then, it's been a very up and down Houston Texans team. They're currently at 6-4. They are going to win the AFC South. The Colts are not a legit team. The Jaguars are not a legit team, and the Titans are not a legit team. I guess the Colts could definitely sneak into a wild card spot, but the Jaguars and the Titans are a bunch of pumpkins at the moment, and the Colts are a very average team that has no idea who they should start at quarterback with Anthony Richardson or with Joe Flacco. Texans coming into this 6-4 have lost 3 out of 4, so they're reeling. CJ Stroud, who had a great rookie season, has taken a little bit of a step back. He's 19th in total QBR among quarterbacks. The Stephon Diggs injury hurts. They've been dealt with the injury bug on offense. Nico Collins has missed an extended period of time. They should be getting him back relatively soon, so that will give them a boost. But Stephon Diggs is out for the year, and Tank Dell has had to step up. Dalton Schultz has not been great. They need Nico Collins back. He will be coming back, but they need him back ASAP. 2 jarring stats, right? So when I talked about those couple teams that were contenders, right? The Bills, they were 3rd in points per game, and they were 9th in points allowed. So a top 5 offense and a top 10 defense, right? The Eagles were 7th in points per game and 5th in points allowed. So a top 10 offense and a top 5 defense. And the Pittsburgh Steelers were 2nd in points allowed at 16.2. So they were top 5, top 2 defense, and then they're 12th in offense. So they're a top 13, top 14 offense. this is where Houston becomes really scary if you're a Houston Texans fan, and why I think they're not a contender and they fall under the pretender category. And that is, they've lost 3 out of 4, like I said. Stroud is 19th in QBR, but they are 17th in points per game, and they are 19th in points allowed. They are worse than average on both in points per allowed and points per game. They're 17th in points per game and 19th in points allowed. I'm sorry. That is not a recipe for success in January, and that makes you a pretender. That is going to do it for us with the funky little layout I had for a second here because I did not set it and I hit record and I went for it. As always, we are sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you guys use code TSP for 100% deposit match up to $100. It's a great time to get on. It's a great time to get on to Underdog Fantasy. So make sure you guys do that. And as always, we are sponsored. Our social media is Talking Sports PD. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. If you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, if you're driving home from work, if you're driving to work, leave a review, subscribe to the podcast. And if you're on YouTube, drop a like, drop a comment. That is going to do it for us. The NFL college football content is not going away. Conference championship preview coming up in a couple weeks. College football playoff previews in a couple weeks. More NFL content. Baseball is in the past. The NFL is right in front of us, and we're going to be giving you guys a ton of content. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you're a Bills, Eagles, and Steelers fan, you enjoyed it. I said you guys were contenders. If you're a Texans, Chargers, or Vikings fans, you might have not enjoyed it as much, and I put you guys as a pretender. That is going to do it for us. This is the Talking Sports Podcast. I'm Peter DiBiasi, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.